Hey guys, so I thought I would write a blog post about my first month starting treatment, and I'm just gonna read it for you, and I don't know, maybe I'll use it for some sort of video blogging later on. So, month one's in the books, and it's bittersweet. Although I've felt a lot better than expected. Having days where, physically speaking, I feel better than I have since 2015, so what, 7 or 8 months ago. But I don't really want to talk about the physical symptoms today because there's so much more to this disease than what you physically are feeling. The first 4 weeks of my treatment, the last 4 weeks, have been pretty difficult. In March, when we finally had the diagnosis, we knew it was causing all this extreme pain, weakness, and all these other symptoms that weren't allowing me to leave the house, and most days even leave the bed. Finally knowing what was causing it, we could start focusing on moving forward. But now that I'm on this road to recovery, I'm realizing I don't know how long, windy or bumpy it's going to be. Maybe I'll break the odds, I'll recover sooner than expected. How sick was too sick? Was the threshold between being really sick with Lyme or kind of sick with Lyme passed? I don't know where I fall on the spectrum because it's so different for every person, and there's no patterns or logic behind it. At least not that I know of, and I don't think that many people know of. I'm pretty certain that if it would have taken another 6 or 8 months before getting this diagnosis and starting to move forward with my treatment, I don't know that I would have been able to get out of bed or out of a wheelchair anymore. Sometimes it isn't until we look backwards that we finally gain perspective on where we're at right now. I was sick. I was really sick, and I probably still am. So even though I've been feeling a little better overall in my first month, I also have found myself really suddenly feeling isolated, and that's not normal for me. So maybe it's just going back to the beginning of the year when, from January until March, I was in such surreal pain that when you have that kind of pain, you don't even have a chance to think about anything else and what's going on. It consumes you. But I know the only way out is through. I literally breathed my way out of those 3 months. It was one breath, then another. Long, deep inhales, matched with extremely long, slow, deep exhales, the best that I could. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, don't get me wrong. I had the most amazing, supportive, understanding husband, family, and friends, and even the community that I live in has been overwhelming with their support too. But despite all of this, a person is just bound to start feeling lonely. It feels like there's worms crawling in my feet. I feel like my feet are turning to cement. The muscles in my body feel like they're slowly turning into concrete. There's burning, searing, stabbing pain all over my body. My body aches so deeply that it feels like my bones are dissolving. The space between my vertebrae gets so swollen I can't sit straight. I can't sit up or stand up on my own. I walk into walls and doorways. I can't lift my head. I can't brush my own teeth. My stomach is so swollen it looks like I'm having a baby. It hurts when I eat. It feels like my esophagus can't move food down into my stomach anymore. I have started choking on food and medication. It hurts to breathe. It feels like my ribs don't expand when I breathe in. The space between each rib hurts. I can't catch my breath even when I'm just sitting. My neck is so stiff, some days it physically can't move from side to side. My face twitches uncontrollably. My arms, head, and legs flail out for no apparent reason. It feels like everything is a dream, not a reality, like living every day like you're drunk. I forget how to spell. I forget what words to use. My chest hurts and my heart starts racing at any given time. I fall asleep everywhere. I have these lumps that just grow in my wrist. And there's an IV line coming out of my chest, which basically leads to my heart. Like I said, I'm not complaining, but these are just things that I've said and I've felt countless times. Some people can relate, but not everyone, and likely to not every single one of these all at once. It's kind of hard to describe, but it just gets scary and lonely. And I feel like I sound crazy when I'm trying to tell someone about it. And I also don't want to tell people about it. For one reason is I don't want to complain. I think you might have noticed that already. I've said it a few times. And two, I have this ever-pressing need to be the tough kid. If you ask me how I am and I say that I'm okay, it's a lie. I don't want to call myself a liar, but I think it's easier just to say I've become a really great actress. I've also become very patient, more patient than I ever thought I could be. Right now, my biggest question for the universe is how long this is going to last. How long will I have my central line and be on IV antibiotics? The answer is as long as it's going to have to take. Sometimes we don't get all the answers at once. And I know there are critics out there, and that's fine. I do believe this is working. I believe in my Lyme literate doctor and his years of experience in infectious disease, and ultimately in specializing in Lyme. So not only do I have more patience than I thought I ever possibly could have, I also have a lot more faith in the things that are uncertain. This disease, it does have a stigma. I try to advocate, and I'm very transparent about it, so that puts me in the public eye. And it also leaves room for judgment and criticism. I've received both, surprisingly from friends, as well as doctors and complete strangers. I'm uneasy when I say I have Lyme disease to somebody new. I wonder if they're going to look me up from head to toe and say, well, you don't look sick. I'm also worried for the next time I find myself in the emergency room. Will the on-call doctor look at me and tell me that I don't have Lyme disease and I'm endangering myself? Maybe they're going to tell me it's in my head. Maybe they're going to tell me it's simply a case of rheumatoid arthritis, maybe MS, maybe ALS. Maybe it's just a virus that's lasting an exceptionally long time. I've been told all of these and so many more. And believe me, the longer you've been sick and the more opinions and possible diagnoses that they throw at you, the harder it gets. There's just times when medicine is based on our best educated guess, and science just doesn't show up and give us long-term human studies when we need the answers to them. And yes, I've chosen to go to an emergency room or not based on the doctor that's working. And the sad truth is that I'll continue to do this as long as my life isn't in serious jeopardy. The doctor-patient relationship and interactions are so important, and I really believe they influence care outcomes. For this, I'm also extremely lucky to have a really supportive family doctor who I've always felt comfortable with and never judged by. Being able to be a participating member of my care is very, very important to me. In the end, I really just want to be healthy again. I'd love to go for a walk, hopefully run again, one day be able to lift both arms over my head without any pain. And one day I will. We just don't know when yet. I keep reminding myself of something I was told to use, a mantra. I've forgotten my past, I accept my present, and I'll embrace my future. It is really easy to lose sight. It's easy to hold on to old behaviors, relapse into old patterns. Maybe it would be easier just to feel defeated when life throws you this huge curveball. It hits you in the face and knocks your teeth out, but I refuse to feel that way. I'm also not full of superhuman emotions, and it gets hard for me too, despite my best efforts. I'm beyond thankful, and I'll never find the right words to express my gratitude to my husband, my family, my friends, and my community. Everyone's support reminds me to keep compassion for myself and for others. It's heartwarming, and I have a stack of get well cards so thick Unalasta doesn't even hold them, and so many of these are from strangers or people I don't even know that well. And the words that everyone writes strike me so deeply, and from the bottom of my heart, I really want to thank every single person. Everyone's encouragement is what gets us through the criticism and the judgment, and I need to remember that when things get difficult. So for now, this is where I am. I accept where I am, and I'll embrace what's in my future. And I'll breathe long, deep inhales and long, slow exhales over and over again until the storm inside starts to finally subside. So that's the last 4 weeks in a nutshell.